A new book explores how parents can help and guide their children through life, even when they can't be present in person. Joining us is Joy Thomas Moore, author of The Power of Presence. Joy, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I should mention at the outset, you have been a longtime member of the MPT Foundation Board, and we appreciate your commitment to that.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. It's an honor because I truly believe in public television.
Well, we appreciate that. Tell us about the book. This is a combination of your experiences, the lessons you learned as a single mother.
Yes. Well, it's a book, as you say. It's sort of a culmination of all my experiences and the experiences of about 15 other women that I interviewed over the years. And in some ways, it's a love letter to single moms who oftentimes don't get the recognition that they deserve for doing, making a way out of no way, oftentimes. And but it's also a call to action that we as a community should embrace single moms and the wisdom that they have, and encourage, sort of having them at the table as opposed to always being a part of the conversation or being part of ridicule. When
you became a single mother, you were living in New York, and you had 3 little kids and lost your husband suddenly.
Yeah, well, actually, I was living in Maryland at the time, in Tacoma Park, Maryland, and I guess my eldest was almost 10, Wes was almost 4, and the baby was 20 months. And my husband, who was a broadcaster, just got sick one evening, basically, and was gone the next day.
Wow. Your kids have all turned out great. Wes, we have interviewed. Wes Moore, well-known Rhodes Scholar, author, veteran entrepreneur, but he was not an easy child, you wrote.
No, he wasn't. That's the joke. He wasn't always a Rhodes Scholar. And that was part of the challenge, and I think part of the challenge that a lot of parents, single or not, face. How do you find the right fit, for your kids educationally? And we're at that point we were living in New York, and the school just was not right for him. He couldn't find his own voice there. He was more the class clown, and doing those kinds of things, and trying to really wearing a mask, and. So, as he says, I sent him to military school, and after many failed attempts to run away from that, he decided to give it a chance, and it worked for him. He became a leader as opposed to a follower.
There are 7 handprints on the beautiful cover of this book, and you talk about there being 7 pillars of presence. What does that mean?
Well, these are sort of my guideposts that I and these other mothers that I interviewed, sort of, they were our North Star. Presence of heart, presence of mind, presence of connectedness, presence of values, presence of faith, and presence of resources. Did I do 7?
Let's walk through a couple. Presence of heart, what do you mean?
That's sort of the unconditional support and love of your kids knowing that you are there for them regardless. And sometimes that doesn't mean sort of, ignoring those things that they need correcting. But they are there. I have lots of sayings and slogans in the book, sort of for moms who maybe need a quick something. And one of the things that I paraphrase throughout the book is that kids need to know that you care before they care what you know.
That you're on their side.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
right.
Some of the others, faith, the role of faith.
Faith is, that's one of those foundational things. When my husband passed, I tried to make a deal with God and the only thing I could think of was to stop smoking. Said if I stop smoking, then, if you let him live, I will stop smoking. And of course, when that didn't happen, I continued to smoke, but I also left the church. And I'm the daughter of a minister. And so it was a hard period, but I always knew that my kids had to have that foundation. Again, going back to one of the things that we talk about, faith is, taking that first step without seeing the end of the staircase, and that's a Martin Luther King quote.
One of the things you mentioned is the presence in terms of resources or financial freedom, and not everybody has that.
Absolutely. It's that knowing that somehow you have to figure out, what is important at that time in your life, and not sort of, putting that frustration of not having on your kids, teaching them how to wait and to earn, something, to earn the money that they need for whatever the case may be. And so, one of the women that I interview in that chapter is Pam Warner, who is the mother of Malcolm Jamal Warner of the Cosby Show. And Pam, after she went to college, not being able to get a job, what she did was to start baking cookies and selling pies on the corners in Los Angeles.
Just in a sentence or so, who do you hope is helped by your book?
I think I want single moms to feel really celebrated about this, but I also want families in general to know that, if these are my pillars, do your own. Give your kids the ammunition that they need to go through life and become productive.
The Power of Presence, Joy Thomas Moore. Congratulations on the book
Oh, thank
and your
you
wonderful family,
so
and thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you so much for having me.